Well, there's also questions about what to do with computers nowadays, how we could best like keep our eyes from deteriorating when we are exposed so much to computers and artificial light. Maybe, well, who wants to talk about it? I know that you, Nathan, have a program with Barry Ockertel on the relationship to computers, but if anyone else also wants to say something, please be welcome. Meir, I think
I'll just take a moment to look away from our screens or close our eyes, or especially if you've been kind of staring at the screen for quite some time, whether it's day or night, you could look out the window or just look at some other actual three-dimensional object in the space around you, or just close the eyes or palm the eyes to take a break. It's one of the beauties of being in a room full of vision teachers is you have permission to be doing these things that you might not necessarily be able to do in a work meeting or something like that. So
I have created this course called CVS, Computer Vision Syndrome, and there we teach specific exercises for people who are using the screen. In that, one of that is shifting your glance. So at time of 20-25 minutes when you are constantly looking at the screen, no doubt blinking is the backbone of that whole thing. So you need to keep blinking 4 to 6 seconds once. So I was looking at one of the, one of the speaker who was saying, I think Maurizio was saying, write on a note, blink, and just stick on the corner of the computer. So that is very good idea. And the second thing is shifting your glance. So you looking at the computer screen, half an hour, 45 minutes, just get up, go to the window and see as far as possible for at least 1.5 to 2 minutes, 90 seconds to 120 seconds. So all the muscles which are stuck rectis, they get stretched. That's the one thing. Second thing which I have used since the Fabrizio mention about it, just keeping a black color cloth near the screen, and when you're working on the screen for 20-25 minutes, just look at that black color cloth continuously for 1.5 to 2 minutes, and that give you an amazing relaxation. So these are the tips, and posture is, of course, is very important. So that's a wonderful way to do it. That's what I believe.
Thank you very much, Meir. Ray, were you wanting to say something about this? I thought I saw your finger pointing. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to explain something very important. There must have been all kinds of problems in ancient times, although people in ancient times had vision 3 times our vision, 10 times my vision. But there are problems in modern time, and there are big problems. And especially now with the epidemic, when more people are doing Zoom. In fact, one of my friends, Eric Pepper, wrote a book about high-tech Zoom fatigue. There is a problem with Zoom. There's a problem with the computer, and there's a problem with the smartphone. I'll never forget that I stood in the library, San Francisco library, in a street called West Portal. Before I gave a lecture, we went to a coffee shop. One lady was about to order food, and she looked at her phone, and I stood exactly, maybe not polite, but I stood exactly half a foot from her and waited. And for 5 minutes, she did not see me. And then when she ordered the food, she still didn't see me. And I said to her, do you see me? She said, oh, now I do. I said, I was waiting there for 5 minutes. Did you see me? She said, no. I said, well, this is why I'm going to lecture. So here's the thing. We are stressed with our whole body from what we're doing. So for the back, what we need is every 20 seconds, every 20 minutes, every one of you looking, if you have a chair, get on a chair, push your chest forwards, look at the ceiling and stretch your leg back. So you're going to stretch your psoas muscle, and you will take away the stress of sitting on a chair. There is nothing more stressful than sitting on a chair, which we do all day long. I didn't meet any ape that sat 8 hours a day on a branch, but we humans sit for hours on chairs. And how can we ever have enough circulation if we do it. In fact, the muscles of the back are not meant for sitting. They're specific muscles, which are called the paraspinalis and the transverse abdominis, which are there to help us sit for about half an hour. But after half an hour, they fatigue, and we start to bore other muscles, and we start to have such tight connective tissue that not enough blood goes up to the head or to the body. And then many people get blindness from this because they don't get enough blood into their visual system, the optic nerve, the brain, and the retina. And therefore, we have hemorrhages and neovascularization, glaucoma, and many others. The other thing is, you are a sinner, in my book, if you are sitting in front of a computer and you didn't spend at least 20 minutes a day at a distance. Not a minute and a half, not 2 minutes, none of this. Before you start to work, if you care about your eyes, and it's okay if you don't care about your eyes, you can go to the ophthalmologist. But if you care about your eyes, then you should look at the distance, 20 minutes a day, 6 minutes before you start to work, after 2 hours for 4 minutes, 2 more hours, 4 minutes, 6 minutes when you finish working. You should also wave your hands to the side. When you look at the distance, you look at the horizons. That's why our school is by the beach. We fought very hard to get it by the beach and look at waves. And that's the one thing. The other thing is you got to develop your periphery. So, for example, this is a very quick exercise where we wave our hands to the side by blocking the eye, waving the head to the side by blocking the eyes more. And then I'm doing it very quickly. You do it a bit slower. The waving helps you see the periphery, basically, and then you expand your periphery. But those who don't have all those papers that they simply put around the eyes, what they can do is close one eye, wave the hand to the side, and see the eye. For example, I don't want to look at the computer when I do it, because otherwise I'm seeing my hand. But you look away and you see the eye, and then you wave both hands. So every 10 minutes for 15 seconds, you either do periphery, you either do long swing, or you put a small piece of paper between the eyes and you wave. So the room doesn't disappear for your mind. That's one thing. The other thing is you got to look at the distance, or you're looking for cataract. You basically are looking for the formation of cataract. If you make the lens tight, you don't let it move, you're looking for cataract. You don't pay attention to the periphery, you're looking for glaucoma. That, of course, pressure in the eye is a problem, but lack of blood circulation is a big problem here. And I like bunker balls. So anyone who can beat themselves up a little bit with bunker ball can do a big, big favor to themselves, because we're sitting and we're attending. So it's a contradiction. We're doing something in Zoom, my friends. Zoom is your enemy. So in order to deal well with that enemy, you got to compensate for the life that you live, because this is life of torture to your visual system. This is life of torture to your body. And we have to actually release ourselves. And another thing was the epidemic. People didn't walk enough in parks. Now they do. Took them a long time to learn. You got to walk out. You got to be in the sun, as Ray's doing. You got to be out of there and take a deep breath and then return. Don't sit in long increments whenever you can. And if you have to, again, you look at the distance and you pay attention to the periphery. And every 10 minutes, you stop for 20 seconds to do something with your eyes, whether it is periphery, whether it is long swing. Don't forget your eyes. So that's what I want to say. You have to take it seriously. Don't baby yourself. You have to understand that Zoom, no matter how good of a vision practitioner you are, will decrease your vision. So do something to not allow that to happen.
I think it's very important to know, for me, it's like, rather than that the computer screen is my enemy, more like, how is this possible to look after my own visual system? And I really notice the tendency is we are over-focusing. My tendency would be to over-focus on the screen, which then allows the thalamus in the brain to move back and down, which will be narrowing the eyes. So it's like anything with peripheral vision, I think, is really, really good to counterbalancing this over-focusing. And I think one of the things would be the palming, but then the arms can get really heavy. I think night vision, practicing the evening night vision would be really, really good. The night vision, which before going to bed, I will be using it, being in my house and having maybe a candle. So the night vision allows that the whole periphery of the retina can be stimulated, which allows, and which from my understanding is directly connected with the lower back. So by using the night vision, this allows that more information is coming through the optic nerve and to the thalamus, so that the whole thalamus can really move forwards and up again. Kevin, in Britain, you can relate to this very much. And so that our vision and envisaging will come all the way from the back of our skull. And the more we practice this every night a little bit, this releases that we are over-focusing so much during the day. So this will be applicable absolutely to our screen views or viewing.
That's nice thing. My computer is on the table, and it's very nice because nowadays I can stand and working with the computer easy, you know, and I can sit with it, stand with it, and it makes it really more movable with the computer. That's just a practical thing, but it helped me really to relax. And even what Meir said, exercising while standing on the computer, you can do more with your body, you can turn around and so on while talking to the computer. That's what I want to like to say.
There's another thing that's important and that has been observed with excessive screen work is the effect it has on binocular vision. And we're seeing this a lot with children who are studying and having to do their classes online, and that their binocular vision is going completely into pieces. So I would add binocular vision to that, to everything that Meir and everybody else said, and Peter, that there's the periphery, but we really, the problem with the screen is it's 2D and it's flat. And effectively, as Meir said, we have to look far, we have to bring accommodation in, and we have to have 3D depth perception as much as possible. And staring at a 2D screen is a disaster. And there are a lot of studies now on this problem. The studies are mostly on children, but it's obviously with adults as well. The other suggestion, as Peter Ruiter suggested, standing. The other possibility is using a Pilates ball in front of the screen, which is really interesting. One, because we can be in movement, we can bounce, so stimulate peripheral vision, and swing or rock forwards and backwards and move the hips around as we're in the sitting position. I use the ball a lot if I have to stay a rather long time at the computer. So these are just little ideas that may add to the list of suggestions everyone's providing.
Great. And could you illustrate an exercise for binocular vision? Because we know about it, but maybe for people it's too abstract. If you could show just one.
Well, I mean, without going into, yes, very complicated fusion exercises, but something that can be very stimulating or just helpful is just using a pen and looking at something, taking a reference far away, and just noticing as you look at the point of interest far away, whether you see one or you perceive one or two pens. And then if you look at your pen, noticing if your far point of interest is doubled. Now, obviously, if there are people with binocular problems, it's not going to be easy for them. If you do have binocular vision, but sometimes you find that it's not stable, that's one. But there are very many different possibilities with also circles that we can fuse into, two circles we can fuse into one. But I would say to begin with, without going into all that, which would mean being accompanied by a vision teacher, would be to just play with this and then put two pens in front of each other like this, and then just see that where you're not looking, which is peripheral, it will double, and what you're looking at, which is your central vision, will be simple. And so at least you're inviting your eyes at different distances to here, and then to very, very far, and then out the window, and do this to get away from this stuckness in front of the computer.
It's so nice to see here all the people moving now, you know, but normally when you're in Zoom meetings, maybe you see that all are very strict looking in the camera, which are normally in a meeting, in a business meeting, you're in a room, you are not doing. You can watch out of the window, sometimes you can move. But in Zoom, we tend to be watching directly in the camera to be polite also. So what you can do also is to look a little bit up over your camera in the distance. So nobody will see, your boss will not see it. You just look a little bit over the camera so you have a different distance. That's the first tip I want to add if you don't have the possibility to move around like we do it here now. And the second is the open focus. I don't know if some of you heard about it. It's originally from Les Femi, and you can imagine you put your attention to the space between your nose and the screen. So you really feel the space between. And this is really, really relaxing, and nobody will see it. You can do it in a business meeting also. Okay.
Very nice ideas that you are sharing. I'm going to show for a second where I am, because that's something that maybe sometimes we can choose, sometimes we cannot choose, but I have my computer right in front of the window, and this is what I have in front. So I can really look very far, even when I'm working with the window open. And if you get to choose where to place your table, that's something very easy you can do too. You can have the possibility to look far.
I think maybe everybody needs now this. So if
a cocktail or to play with it.
They can put a speaker view, and I do some eye movements with you because it's so boring to look all the time in front of the screen. So if you have speaker view, I do this. Okay, look at this. So go, yes, your eyes, they can rest here at that point. And then you have nothing to do. It's only to go to one side and to another side very easily. So put your eyes, grab this little stick here at this point and go with it very easily. And then you can go up and down. It's a little bit used, it's not fresh yet. It was on my table. And go only with the eyes. You can go a little bit with the neck, a little bit. But it's very important that the eyes moving. So now we're going a diagonal. You can make noises also. Zzz, it's very nice for kids. If you make some noise, zzz, or also in the other direction. Zzz. And take deep breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we make a whole circle. It's not so easy on the screen. Is it possible? And the other way around. And then stop.
I can share one exercise for to see better details when you are also in the computer, and you can take a photo in your hand and close your eyes and only remember the details of your hands and painting these details, this color, these shapes. And after that, you can blink very gentle. Take a deep breath, a very, very deep breath, and look again, and look to your palm of your hands, and look far also. You let your hands in front, a little bit on the side, and look far and blink and blink. And now return, close your eyes, remember the shape, the colors that you saw far, and remember the shape of your hands, and open, very gentle, and make massage in your eyelids, very, very gentle, from one side to other side, and open and look again the details, and compare the vision before and after. So also help us to not stay staring at the computer, just to do this a little moment also help us. Increases the work of the macula and also give it periphery and relax.
Another good thing for the computer, especially for blinking, is the eye splashing. So in the mornings, I tell people to have a little bowl of hot water, a little bowl of cold water, and very gently splash the closed eyes alternately with warm, cold, 10 or 12 times to stimulate the circulation, finishing off with cold in the morning. And if you're doing the same thing in the evening, to do the same thing, but finishing off with warm water to dilate the blood vessels ready for sleep. So this is a very good one. And also you can do little, if you haven't got little bowls of water, you can have little iPads, again, with distilled water that are warm. So you just put them over your eyes, turn them over when they're cool, and put them over when they're cold. So that's another way of helping. And with the computer work, what I do with clients is I say to them, I will be looking away from the screen a lot of the time into the distance during my lessons, so they know that I won't always be looking at them. And that helps enormously. And I also have breaks between each lesson. I have half an hour break between each lesson these days now, so I can do my own thing. I can walk around, do something else, and it keeps my eyes fresh and relaxed. So now, in fact, I don't have any problems with the computer at this stage at all. Touch wood. Touch wood.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.